So this is our second game jam. You know, Jacob and I did it last year. We worked with Unity and really used an awesome engine and allowed us to do a lot of great stuff, but it wasn't great for our team makeup. And this year, we're like, hey, let's use Unreal and let's do the same thing, or not the same thing, but similar to last year, and try and do it better. And this year's game jam is really what we wanted to do last year.
One of the things that was nice about it was the fact that it was very intuitive, whereas with Unity there was a lot of things that we had to do to get it to work for us, whereas with Unreal it just kind of works. And that allowed for quick iteration. It allowed for art to be able to get implemented into it quickly and allow for the designers to start placing assets quickly and then allowing them to test what they're working on.
We all kind of knew what we wanted going into it. We had a very good discussion on where to direct the art style for the environment art. When Ben worked on the Spider-Bot, he was able to kit bash something that really worked on a very sort of visceral level.
I worked on a game before. My experience with modeling I've been doing about for 8 months. So I was actually really surprised when I actually was invited to help out with this. Working on a game jam was actually it was a really good experience, because it kind of was you have to do this. There's not like I'm kind of frustrated with this point, I'll stop and continue today. It's like, no, you had to learn this. So areas where I kind of like, maybe I'll do that a little later, it was all in. So I had to learn it, and it just really was the best learning experience.
You don't have to worry about spending too much time and second guessing. You kind of have to go with your gut on a lot of things, which tends to actually lead to some pretty fast and pretty easy choices.
Okay, we need, the floors, they need to be done super fast. So then I would go and make sure that we got floors really fast so that our game actually looked as polished as it could be.
It's a really interesting thing, doing a design for something like TidyBot, because that's really outside of my comfort zone. I do robots, but the difference between designing something specifically for the game that we did is you want to instill this sense of fear, right? You want to prey off of people's fears.
So when we were working on this early on, we knew a lot of what we wanted to do in terms of anticipation to leading up to when you actually see TidyBot. But we also know at some point you'd have to see him, and you'd have to do something to get past him.
Tidy Pal, searching for your mess.
Something interesting that Sean and I came up with was you never fully want to see that. The best part of Alien as a movie is when you're not seeing the xenomorph. In fact, the weakest parts of that movie are when you actually do. So how do you play off of that, but give it a cool enough silhouette that it starts freaking people out in a really, really big way?
What's something that's different that most horror genres don't, tap into? What's something different that we can do to make ourselves, stand out from the rest, besides obviously making the amazing, beautiful art and graphics that we had and the amazing sound that we had? What thematically can we do? And so that was really what I wanted to do going into this.
When it came to the last space, we wanted to make something so you come in and there he is, and you're not quite sure what's going on yet, but we needed to make it so it was kind of you shouldn't mess with him. He's definitely not something that you want to approach and think that it's safe, and then it turns out not to be safe.
The thought of making a horror game is very interesting, because most games that you approach is finding the fun, finding cool, interesting ways that people have never seen before. With a horror game, it's all about hitting emotional, elements and really kind of making the player think, and making it mechanics and gameplay that's fun, that makes that stand out is great. But it's more about hitting something that's very unique, and most horror games don't have a lot of replayability. So we definitely looked into how could we build stuff that really makes the player think, makes them expect something, but then something different happens.
In 48 hours, what can we write? And obviously, those lines are rather short. But something that I was very, very passionate about is obviously like audio logs are something that are overused, but it doesn't change the fact that it can be an effective way in a small time span to communicate like what the atmosphere is of the game.
Tired of cleaning up after yourself? The Tidy Pal is here to help. State-of-the-art cleaning and processing machine that is hassle-free. You'll wonder how you ever lived without Tidy Pal.
With the group that we had there was a lot of trust put into everybody to make sure that they did everything that they needed to do. Usually with a lot of projects, there's instances where it's like, yeah, this one person did an amazing job at certain thing, but at the end of it, I was trying to look at it and I was just like, you know, everybody did everything that we needed them to, and they did it with great color.
Later on in the production, I kept on getting IMs from the team being like, where's the bot, where's the rig, we need to get it to the animator, and it kind of helped, you know, make me speed along and drop some more extra things that I was going to throw in there, but eventually we got it out to our animator, and he did a bang-up job with it.
So this was my first game jam. I haven't actually done one before, so I was going in. I was a little bit nervous with whether or not I'd be able to keep up with everybody else iterating, and but what was really cool is aside from everyone I was working with being really awesome, is that with the tools we had, we were able to just kind of stay in sync the whole time, and it went way smoother than I would have ever imagined.
Something that's fascinating for all of us as, you know, like designers and artists and whoever is like being able to have 48 hours to have ownership over something. At the end of the day, like you want to feel trusted to do the job that you can, and so it was super, super amazing to come together as a group and say, well, we all have a perspective on things, let's do what we do.
Like, I'd heard the idea that, yeah, you don't really, you know, the game really only comes together in the last, 10%. And I didn't really get that idea, and then I kind of worked on this with you guys, with the Game Jam, and I really understand that now.
Oh, I'm in.
Sometimes you're making a game, sometimes you're dancing.